Plastic surgery is always promised as a miracle of beauty, but for many, it is a cold scalpel that opens the door to tragedy. Even the most powerful black stars cannot escape the trap of perfection. They step into the operating room with a desperate desire to hold on to their fame, youth, and beauty. But the reality is terrifyingly cruel. What did they gamble everything for, only to get what in return? Collapsed careers, eroded bodies, or even more chillingly, gasping their final choked breaths and collapsing alone in the darkness of a cold operating room. That is the ruthless and frightening truth of going under the knife, where seemingly harmless interventions strike fatal blows from which they never, ever have the chance to turn back. Today, I will open the files on 21 figures, black vocalists and actors who dominated pop culture in past decades only to meet overly tragic ends because of plastic surgery. 21. Vesta Williams, a lonely death after the ultimate transformation. Vesta Williams was one of the precious gems of the 80s R&B music scene with her hit Congratulations. Possessing a powerhouse voice spanning 4 octaves, she easily conquered audiences. However, in an industry that always puts physical appearance on a scale, Vesta's plus-size weight became a fatal barrier. After being dropped by Polygram Records for no longer fitting the market image, she fell into a severe crisis. Desperate to reclaim her career, Vesta decided to plunge into a life-or-death battle with her weight. In the early 2000s, she underwent gastric bypass surgery, while also combining it with prescription appetite suppressants. As a result, she lost nearly 100 pounds, reappearing in magazines with an astonishingly slim figure. But forcing a massive body to drop weight so rapidly left permanent damage to her cardiovascular system. On September 22, 2011, in a quiet hotel room in El Segundo, Southern California, tragedy struck. Her heart muscle, already weakened after years of enduring the pressure of diet pills and post-surgical electrolyte imbalances, began to beat erratically. In that silent, empty room, Vesta clutched the left side of her chest, sweating profusely as her exhausted heart desperately tried to pump blood. She stumbled and collapsed onto the floor, drawing her last breath at the age of 53. Following an autopsy, the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office concluded she died of hypertensive heart disease, dismissing rumors of drug use. This event ignited a fierce debate within the African American entertainment industry about fat phobia, exposing the cruel reality that black female artists were often pushed to the point of gambling their very lives on the operating table just to keep their chance to sing. 20. Nell Carter, the Broadway star who fell due to an altered digestive system. Nell Carter was a radiant monument of Broadway and American television, having won both prestigious Emmy and Tony Awards through works like Ain't Misbehavin' and Gimme a Break. Audiences loved her for her plump figure and radiant smile. However, behind the spotlight, her type 2 diabetes, progressively worsening due to obesity, was directly threatening her life. In the early 2000s, standing on the line between life and death, Nell made the decision to undergo major gastric bypass surgery. The surgery was expected to help her restrict food intake, lose weight, and control her blood sugar. Nell did indeed lose weight, but medicine sometimes has unpredictable dark corners. The permanent alteration of her gastrointestinal structure caused her body to lose the ability to fully absorb specialized medications. On the night of January 23, 2003, while at her home in Beverly Hills, the consequences of this malabsorption hit her. Her heart, deprived of the necessary supportive medication, suddenly suffered a heart attack. The excruciating chest pain caused her to stagger, unable to reach the phone in time to call 911. She collapsed onto the floor and faded away in the darkness. The next morning, her 13-year-old son was devastated to discover his mother had passed away forever at the age of 54. The Los Angeles coroner's report later confirmed the cause of death was complicated heart disease combined with diabetes. Nevertheless, Nell Carter's death became a major topic of discussion in the medical community at the time. doctors began to better understand the phenomenon of malabsorption in bariatric surgery patients, leading to adjustments in the dosage and form of medications for those who have had a portion of their stomach removed. 19. Heavy D, the hip-hop giant and the blood clot on a fateful flight. Heavy D, real name Dwight Arrington Myers, was once a brilliant icon of 90s hip-hop. Contrary to the edgy gangster image, he conquered audiences with his charm and masterful dance moves despite his massive frame. But upon crossing the age of 40, declining health forced him to dive into an extreme weight loss campaign to maintain his career. He constantly restricted his weight, used intervention therapies, and engaged in exhausting workouts. In November 2011, Heavy D had just attended a Michael Jackson tribute performance in the UK and boarded a long flight back to the US. The rapid drop in weight combined with an underlying cardiovascular condition turned sitting motionless on an airplane into a death trap. On the afternoon of November 8th, while walking on the driveway of his Beverly Hills home, he suddenly froze. A blood clot, a deep vein thrombosis formed from the flight, broke loose and traveled straight to his pulmonary artery, causing a pulmonary embolism. The most horrifying part was that he was completely conscious but unable to breathe. Heavy D clutched his chest, gasping for air in pure desperation. He collapsed right on the steps, faintly asking a passerby to call 911 before his face turned a purplish blue. Despite being rushed to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, he died a few hours later at the age of 44. The official autopsy report confirmed a pulmonary embolism as the cause of death, triggered by the long flight and his heart condition. Heavy D's sudden death sent a powerful warning across America about deep vein thrombosis, especially for middle-aged men with a history of sudden weight changes. 18. Donda West, the death that forged a law bearing her name. Donda West, a talented university professor, stood out in academic circles and was the career manager for her son, Kanye West. Her career was tied to remarkable achievements and her son's name, but no one expected that her silent sacrifices for her son would lead to an agonizing tragedy. In 2007, at the age of 58, Donda West decided to change her appearance. After gaining weight, she always felt insecure about her looks, especially her stomach and breasts. She wanted plastic surgery to feel more confident, not just for herself, but to have the most radiant image possible on the journey of supporting her son in his rising music career. On November 9, 2007, Donda West walked into Dr. Jan Adams' clinic in Brentwood, Los Angeles. A bold decision, 3 procedures at once: a tummy tuck, a breast reduction, and liposuction. The entire surgery lasted 5.5 hours under general anesthesia. When the operation was over, she asked to go home immediately, even though the doctor advised her to stay at the hospital for observation. Her nephew was a nurse and could take care of her health at home, so the doctor also felt there was no issue with the proposal. And so, Donda West left the clinic without knowing that everything was slowly collapsing from the inside. On the night of November 10th, while everyone in the house was fast asleep, she began to have trouble breathing. A suffocating feeling took over due to the tight bandages, but no one was by her side to help. At this moment, she tried to get out of bed and call for help, but her body lacked the strength to endure, causing her to fall face down on the floor, making the oxygen deprivation even more severe. Even though she was taken to Centinela Freeman Hospital at 2 a.m., it was already too late. At 4 a.m., she passed away from heart failure, a combined consequence of pre-existing cardiovascular disease, a lung infection, painkillers, and restricted breathing. Her passing was the direct cause leading to the Donda West Law in 2009 in California, requiring all patients to undergo a comprehensive physical examination before undergoing cosmetic surgery. Also, since then, the pain of losing his mother devastated Kanye West's mental health, turning him into a completely different person with psychological dark corners that persist to this day. 17. Sandra Peppa Denton, the hip-hop icon and the nightmare of rocks inside her body. Sandra Denton, known to the public by the stage name Peppa, from the legendary girl group Salt and Peppa, was a brilliant icon of television and music culture in the 80s and 90s. Born in 1966, she not only paved the way for female rappers, but also defined the sexy, confident style of black women. However, the massive pressure to maintain those fiery curves on stage as she entered middle age pushed her into a cruel mistake. To keep her hourglass figure, Peppa underwent multiple implants and biopolymer injections, a form of industrial silicone, into her buttocks. Everything seemed fine until a car accident in 2018 severely shifted the implants. In agonizing pain, she sought out a famous plastic surgeon in Los Angeles with the hope of completely removing the toxin from her body. However, this major surgery officially opened a new hell. The blind spot of the situation hit during her post-op days. Instead of feeling relieved, Peppa was horrified to find her buttocks unnaturally swollen and stiff. The toxic biopolymer masses were not fully removed. They had hardened and clung tightly to her muscle bundles, forming large lumps as hard as pebbles right beneath the skin. Every time she tried to sit down on a chair, a brain-piercing pain, like thousands of rusty needles stabbing straight into her spinal cord, made her burst into tears. The stage that was once her kingdom had turned into a torture chamber. Every step, every body movement brought about flesh-tearing spasms, turning an once dynamic legend into someone who struggled to walk, gritting her teeth to endure shooting pains that reached her brain. The situation was so severe that Peppa had to file a lawsuit against the surgeon, accusing him of negligent practices that left her permanently disfigured. To be able to walk normally, she had to undergo several other agonizing reconstructive surgeries to scrape it out. The lengthy litigation process exposed a heartbreaking reality. Behind the glamour of those fiery TV bodies is a life sentence of tearing physical pain, where artists must carry toxic rocks that torture them with every breath. 16. Stella Obasanjo, the First Lady of Nigeria, declared brain dead in a foreign land. Stella Obasanjo, the First Lady of Nigeria, stood out with the image of a dedicated woman in charitable activities, always appearing in public with a confident demeanor. She was a mother, a wife, and a symbol of a nation. On October 21, 2005, Stella Obasanjo flew to Spain alone to undergo plastic surgery. At age 59, she decided to have liposuction on her stomach and other areas to improve her figure in preparation for her 60th birthday in November. Her decision was not surprising, as she was someone who always lived under the media spotlight, having to bear the heavy and sometimes harsh pressures regarding the image of a leader. She arrived at the molding clinic in Puerto Banús, Marbella, and had the liposuction procedure performed under local anesthesia by Dr. Antonio Mena Molina. Everything went normally for the first few hours, but a fatal mistake occurred. The doctor accidentally placed the suction tube into her abdominal cavity instead of the subcutaneous fat layer. As a result, her colon was punctured and her liver was torn. She was severely injured, but the doctor assumed her condition was nothing to worry about and sent her back to her hotel to rest. 4 hours later, fluids and blood leaking throughout her abdominal cavity caused her to feel extreme discomfort. Gut-wrenching pain hit her. She tried to call the doctor between broken breaths, but he didn't answer his phone in time. In the early morning of October 23, 2005, her condition became critical. In severe septic shock, she was transferred to USP Marbella Hospital, but it was too late. She was declared brain dead at 2:35 a.m. due to multiple organ failure and sepsis. Her passing shocked the entire nation. The Nigerian people shed tears in pain and outrage. However, Dr. Antonio Mena Molina was only sentenced to 1 year of probation in 2009 for involuntary manslaughter, banned from practicing for 3 years, and ordered to pay 120,000 euros in compensation. This incident subsequently sparked a wave of investigations into the medical tourism industry in Europe, exposing the deadly loopholes in the regulation of private clinics serving the ultra-rich. 15. Mary Wells, the queen of Motown, fixed her nose to regain youth, and the tragic end at 49. Mary Wells, the legendary Motown singer, was once one of its brightest stars with her 1964 hit My Guy. Her glamorous beauty and sweet voice captured the hearts of fans. However, in the 1980s, her career was interrupted by financial difficulties, a painful divorce, and an obsession with her aging appearance. When she was in her 40s, Mary Wells decided to get a rhinoplasty at a Los Angeles clinic. She felt insecure about her genetically wide nose and wanted to restore her sexy 1960s beauty so she could confidently stand on stage once more. But what seemed like a simple nose job became the start of a prolonged nightmare. A week after the implant material was inserted into her body, she began to have a violent reaction. A severe allergic outbreak caused inflammation in her nasal area, and soon after, infected pus silently drained down, spreading to her larynx. A constant choking sensation, throat swelling, and prolonged shortness of breath left her exhausted, struggling to open her mouth but unable to articulate clearly. Even though Mary Wells tried treating it with high-dose antibiotics and went under the knife one more time to fix it, her condition didn't improve. The chronic inflammation in her throat, compounded by a chain-smoking habit, pushed her laryngeal cells to the brink of malignant mutation. The prolonged inflammation was the direct cause of the laryngeal cancer she was diagnosed with in 1991. The disease didn't just completely destroy her God-given voice, but also drained all her physical strength. On August 26, 1992, Mary Wells passed away at age 49 at Kenneth Norris Hospital, Los Angeles. Her death was a massive shock, sounding a profound alarm among Black artists about the risks of abusing cosmetic implant materials. It wasn't until 2015 that she was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But she was no longer there to receive that belated glory. 14. Etta James, the blues legend, and her final decade battling the aftermath of going under the knife. Etta James was the soul of blues music, the one who turned At Last into an immortal love song. In contrast to her magical voice, she had a stormy life dealing with drug addiction and obesity. By 2001, her weight crossed the 400-pound mark, causing her knee joints to be crushed, forcing her to perform in a wheelchair. When doctors refused to perform knee replacement surgery because she was too heavy, Etta decided to seek out Dr. Matthias Phobie to get gastric bypass surgery. The surgery helped her successfully lose 200 pounds, allowing her to stand firmly once again. But for a woman in her 60s with a body that had been ravaged by stimulants, cutting into her internal organs unintentionally collapsed her body's entire natural defense barrier. Post-surgery, Etta's body lost the ability to absorb nutrients, leading to severe immunodeficiency. In her final years, she became a familiar patient in emergency rooms. Bacteria constantly attacked her frail body, causing bouts of urinary tract infections and sepsis. She lay gasping on her bed, her arms crisscrossed with IV needle marks, her body shivering violently in feverish shocks caused by blood infections. Toxins accumulating over a long time weakened all her internal organs and triggered chronic leukemia. She took her last breath in January 2012 at Riverside Community Hospital. Although Etta James had an incredibly illustrious career, her agonizing medical journey became a classic medical case study, proving the risk of organ failure in elderly patients following weight loss surgery. 13. Tamika Foster, a heart that stopped beating before the scalpel, in Brazil. Tamika Foster was once a powerful stylist, but when she married the king of R&B Usher, her life was immediately thrown into the eye of a media storm. The pressure to maintain a hot image worthy of a global sex symbol made Tamika lose her confidence, especially right after she gave birth to her second son in December 2008. In February 2009, when her body had barely gone through a postpartum period of less than 2 months, Tamika secretly booked a flight to Sao Paulo, Brazil. She was determined to undergo a rapid tummy tuck and liposuction with Dr. Silvio Sturman. Choosing South America wasn't just because of the reputation of the aesthetic industry there, but also to escape the ruthless paparazzi lenses of the American media. However, tragedy struck right when the scalpel hadn't even touched her skin. As soon as she was injected with general anesthesia, her immune system reacted violently. A horrifying anaphylactic shock occurred. Her airway slammed shut, and Tamika's heart rate flatlined. Doctors frantically rushed in to perform CPR, inserted an endotracheal tube, and placed her in a medically induced coma to protect her brain from oxygen deprivation damage. On the other side of the hemisphere, a devastated usher canceled his performance at the Grammy Awards to fly out on an emergency flight to save his wife. Tamika miraculously survived after 11 days of intensive care. However, this incident prompted the Brazilian Medical Board to investigate the clinic. Later on, Tamika repeatedly spoke out to warn the public about the toxicity of the snapback culture, rapid postpartum weight loss, and the hidden dangers of the medical cosmetic tourism industry. 12. K. Michelle, the necrosis death sentence from the black market of plastic surgery. K. Michelle is an R&B vocalist with numerous hits and a reality television star. In 2012, when an oversized booty was the golden ticket to reaching the pinnacle of fame in hip-hop, the young woman turned to the black market. In an Atlanta hotel room, an unlicensed practitioner used a syringe to pump liters of liquid directly into her buttocks for an incredibly cheap price. Her career immediately skyrocketed afterward. However, a few years later, that liquid, which was actually hydrogel and industrial silicone, began to react. It didn't stay still but leaked, weaving along her muscle tissues and drifting down into her thighs. Michelle felt a burning sensation like fire under her skin. The silicone clung tightly to her vascular system, cutting off the blood supply to her tissues, causing the flesh inside to slowly turn a necrotic black. The bone-deep agony made it difficult for her to even stand on stage by herself. To win her life back, she had to endure 4 horrifying major surgeries. Doctors had to slice her body open, scrape out every patch of rotting flesh, and suck the silicone out to prevent sepsis. Michelle's case shook the media, creating pressure that forced the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to issue emergency warnings about illegal liquid silicone injections. For her part, K. Michelle turned her pain into action by producing the TV show My Killer Body, exposing the black market cosmetic world and helping other black women remove ticking time bombs from their bodies. 11. Lark Voorhies, the beauty and psychological tragedy of the teen idol. Lark Voorhies was once the idol of millions of American teenagers when she played Lisa Turtle in the hit sitcom Saved by the Bell. With radiant black beauty, trendy fashion sense, and a captivating smile, she was one of the most promising faces of 90s television. However, the pressure to maintain an ageless teen idol image in a harsh Hollywood gradually dragged Lark into the vortex of artificial beauty procedures. When she appeared in an interview in 2012, the public was shocked by a completely unfamiliar appearance. Her face was distorted, swollen, frozen, and heavy makeup tried to hide the skin that had been impacted by chemicals and fillers. Even sadder, these botched cosmetic interventions happened parallel to the collapse of her mental health. Although her mother later spoke up to explain that Lark suffered from bipolar disorder and lupus, cosmetic experts all agreed that her face had suffered the devastation of filler abuse and plastic surgery procedures. Her disastrous physical transformation and unstable psychological state pushed her out of major projects. When the Saved by the Bell cast reunited in new versions, Lark was initially completely forgotten. From being a highly sought-after teen actress, she had to withdraw from the screen, becoming a heartbreaking testament to the price of physical appearance pressure on female artists. 10. Wendy Williams, the talk show queen and the aftermath of lymphedema. Wendy Williams is one of the most powerful, sharp-tongued, and edgy media icons in American pop culture. Throughout her career hosting The Wendy Williams Show, she never hid the fact that she was addicted to plastic surgery. She publicly admitted on television that she had undergone a series of breast augmentations, breast reductions, multiple liposuctions, and tummy tucks to maintain her famous hourglass figure. However, continuously using a scalpel to deeply intervene in soft tissues and the subcutaneous fat layer over several decades destroyed her body's natural defense system. Wendy was diagnosed with lymphedema, a severe medical complication that occurs when lymph nodes are damaged or severed after abdominal and leg reconstructive surgeries. This condition prevents bodily fluids from circulating, causing them to build up and swell her legs and ankles abnormally. This pathology, combined with Graves' disease, a form of hyperthyroidism, caused her health to plummet rapidly. Audiences witnessed her staggering and even fainting right on live television many times. Her swollen legs and cracked blood vessels forced her to switch to wearing sneakers, use a wheelchair, and ultimately, these severe physical aftermaths were part of the reason she was forced to permanently step down from her familiar host chair, closing the brilliant 13-year era of the TV show bearing her name. 9. Lil Kim. The erasure of personal identity on the operating table. Lil Kim, real name Kimberly Denise Jones, was a pioneer, laying the foundation for the sexy, feminist, and bold female rapper image in hip-hop. Despite possessing extraordinary talent and a string of platinum plaques, she carried an extreme insecurity about her looks. In a rare interview, Kim once admitted the root of this insecurity came from the fact that the men in her life, including the legend, the notorious B.I.G., always cheated on her to chase after women with Eurocentric features or lighter skin. Those psychological traumas pushed Lil Kim to dive into major surgeries to completely change her racial features. She underwent jaw shaving, narrowed her nostrils multiple times, got cheek implants, and especially abused chemicals to bleach her original brown skin. After dozens of times under the knife, her face completely lost the natural features of a black woman, replaced by a stiff, wax doll-like appearance. Her nasal cartilage structure was severely damaged due to being shaved too thin, making breathing difficult. Lil Kim's case isn't just an aesthetic failure. It sparked deep debates within the African American community about body dysmorphic disorder and the toxic beauty standards that constantly oppress women of color in the industry. 8. Vivica A. Fox, a stalled career due to filler abuse. Vivica A. Fox was once one of the most glamorous and sought-after black actresses in Hollywood in the late 90s. She made a powerful mark through box office blockbusters like Independence Day, Set It Off, and Kill Bill. Possessing a sharp, angular beauty and natural acting style, she was the ideal role model for many women at that time. But when she crossed the age of 40, the fear of Hollywood's ruthless rejection of aging actresses made her rush to artificial rejuvenation methods. Vivica abused Botox, injected fillers into her cheeks and lips, and also got breast implants to keep her appearance looking constantly hot. However, injecting an excessive amount of chemicals into the subcutaneous tissues caused the muscle groups on her face to be locked. In a profession that demands the subtlety and flexibility of facial expressions like acting, possessing a face that is tight and shiny but frozen, unable to frown or fully express emotion, is a fatal blow. When the camera did a close-up, the unnaturalness was immediately exposed. The consequence was that many A-list directors began to hesitate and gradually crossed her name off major film projects. Although Vivica later frankly admitted her regrets about her plastic surgery decisions and successfully pivoted into reality television, this excessive intervention remained a barrier that effectively closed the door to the peak of her cinematic career by her own hands. 7. Tamar Braxton, the R&B vocalist and the structurally collapsed nose. Tamar Braxton is an R&B singer possessing a powerful soprano voice and also a massive reality TV personality through the show Braxton Family Values. Despite having genuine musical talent and coming from a prestigious singing family as the younger sister of legend Toni Braxton, Tamar was always embroiled in controversies regarding changes to her physical appearance, especially her nose. She once publicly asserted that narrowing her nose was not for cosmetic purposes, but because she was born without natural nasal cartilage, forcing her to get cartilage implants to support her breathing. However, after multiple surgical interventions, the structure of her nose became too small, pointed, and showed signs of a collapsed septum. Regardless of the original reason, the resulting medical consequence was a severe obstruction in airflow. For a professional singer with complex vocal run techniques, breath control and managing the vocal resonance chamber are matters of life and death. The structurally ruined nose didn't just cause her face to lose its natural harmony. It also created chronic suffocating spells, directly affecting her vocal stamina and forcing her to work twice as hard to maintain her God-given voice on stage. 6. Selena Johnson, gambling her singing voice for a breast reduction surgery. Selena Johnson is a Grammy-nominated R&B/soul singer who left a strong impression on global audiences through her vocal feature on Kanye West's hit, All Falls Down. Possessing a full figure, her oversized breasts, reaching an H-cup, were the cause of chronic back pain, neck strain, and severe inconvenience in her daily life. Faced with physical and aesthetic pressure, Selena decided to get on the operating table for a breast reduction surgery. She firmly believed this was just a standard body intervention, but she almost lost the most precious moneymaker of her life. During the surgery under general anesthesia, doctors inserted an endotracheal tube down her throat to help her breathe. The friction of this plastic tube, combined with her prolonged lying position during the surgery, caused direct trauma and severely scratched her vocal cords. When she woke up in the recovery room, Selena was horrified to realize her voice was nothing more than broken, raspy whispers. Pure terror enveloped her as she faced the risk of permanent voice loss right on the verge of releasing a new album. Selena had to cancel a slew of schedules, endured months of absolute vocal rest, and practiced grueling vocal physical therapy to win her voice back. This is a classic case study warning singers about the hidden risks of any surgery involving anesthesia. 5. Tiny Harris, trading eyesight for an exotic eye color. Tamika "Tiny" Harris, a member of the legendary R&B group Xscape and wife of powerful rapper T.Y., has always been an attention-grabbing name in the entertainment industry. However, in 2014, she created a genuine shockwave when she decided to cosmetically alter one of the most sensitive parts of her body, her eyes. Unlike normal surgical procedures, Tiny chose to permanently change her original dark brown eye color to an ice gray. Because the artificial iris implant procedure, bright. Ocular is strictly banned in the United States due to the extremely high risk of blindness, Tiny flew all the way to Tunisia to have it done. Doctors sliced her corneas and inserted colored silicone discs over her natural irises. Although Tiny was incredibly proud of her new look bearing exotic features, the medical community fiercely condemned this action. This highly risky procedure blocks the flow of aqueous humor in the eye, carrying the risk of uveitis, corneal damage, and permanent glaucoma. In reality, Tiny has had to deal with declining vision and extreme light sensitivity. Her decision to gamble her healthy eyes just to reject her original anthropometric features also met with harsh criticism from the online community regarding the issue of colorism in Black culture. 4. NeNe Leakes, the reality TV icon and a disproportionate appearance. NeNe Leakes is the name that built the brand for the reality TV series The Real Housewives of Atlanta. In the early seasons, she conquered audiences with her strong personality, iconic sharp catchphrases, and a salty beauty distinct to African American women. But as her fame skyrocketed and she entered the Hollywood elite, NeNe began to feel the pressure to change her appearance to fit new aesthetic standards. She publicly admitted to having undergone at least 2 rhinoplasties. The first time, she used the excuse that her nasal cartilage was too large and obstructed her breathing. However, by the second intervention, the excessive shaving and contouring on the foundation of a large jawbone structure and characteristically thick skin caused her face to become severely disproportionate. Her new nose was squeezed small, the nostrils narrowed to the maximum, causing her overall face to lose its natural, commanding presence, replaced by a glaring awkwardness. NeNe's increasingly plastic look not only caused breathing difficulties due to the narrowed nasal cavity, but also alienated a segment of the audience who once loved her original beauty, turning her appearance into a subject of frequent mockery in the tabloids. 3. Toya Jackson, the collapsed nose of the Jackson family. Toya Jackson is the famous older sister of the king of pop Michael Jackson. Just like her younger brother, Toya's life was overshadowed by the strictness and body-shaming insults from her own biological father, patriarch Joe Jackson. The constant ridicule about the family's big nose implanted a terrifying obsession in the minds of the Jackson siblings about having to erase their natural black features. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Toya underwent a series of surgeries to shave down her nasal bridge and narrow her nostrils. The continuous chiseling and surgical interventions eroded the cartilage structure, causing her nose to become sharply pointed, upturned, and paper-thin. This lack of cartilage didn't just cause severe aesthetic deformity, it also left functional consequences, weakening her nasal septum and causing her to frequently experience difficulty breathing. Toya's appearance in her twilight years looks exactly like a female version of Michael Jackson. Her life is a poignantly tragic example of how family psychological abuse and the pressure of the entertainment industry can push an artist to the limits of irredeemable physical destruction. 2. Jermaine Jackson, the effort to cling to youth through extreme methods. Jermaine Jackson, former member and lead vocalist of the legendary group The Jackson 5 during the Motown era, was once a heartthrob who mesmerized countless young women. However, as he entered middle age, the fear of aging and the pressure to maintain the perfect image of the Jackson family pushed him toward extreme cosmetic methods. He is one of the few black male artists to publicly display the heaviest traces of plastic surgery. To fight against sagging wrinkles, Jermaine abused facelift surgeries. The skin pulled too tight made his face look greasy, swollen, and completely robbed of its ability to make natural expressions. More seriously, to hide age-related balding, he used scalp micropigmentation, tattooing a fake hairline and eyebrows with sharp, dense black ink. The combination of skin pulled as tight as plastic wrap and a stiff, angular, tattooed hairline turned Jermaine's appearance into something bizarre and incredibly disproportionate. His image was constantly dissected and mocked by the media, overshadowing his true musical talent and exposing the reality that the cruel obsession with youth doesn't just surround female artists, but also destroys the once illustrious male singers of the past. 1. Michael Jackson, the fatal consequence of anesthesia. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, is one of the greatest figures in global music history, but his life also carried the most famous and brutal plastic surgery tragedy. Stemming from childhood psychological traumas when he was constantly verbally abused by his father over the characteristic big nose of black people, Michael carried a deep obsession with having to erase his original identity. Starting after a severe scalp burn accident while filming a Pepsi commercial in 1984, he entered an irreversible cycle of surgeries. Michael underwent countless rhinoplasties, chin implants, and alterations to his jawbone structure. His nose was shaved down to the point of a collapsed septum. He had to use ear cartilage to rebuild it, but it still deformed severely, obstructing his breathing. Along with the vitiligo condition that forced him to abuse skin-lightening therapies, Michael completely changed his appearance, losing the silhouette of the talented black boy he once was. However, the most fatal aspect wasn't just his ruined face, but the medical consequences after dozens of times on the operating table. The consecutive surgeries left Michael with chronic pain and severe insomnia. To cope, he began to rely on high-dose painkillers. On June 25, 2009, Destiny closed its doors when he died from acute propofol intoxication, an extremely powerful surgical anesthetic injected into his body by Dr. Conrad Murray merely to help him fall asleep. The globally shocking death of Michael Jackson is the most tragic verdict for a genius besieged by public pressure, self-rejection, and the unhealable wounds of the scalpel. That is the agonizing journey of 21 lives, 21 stars in the black community, who had to pay a cruelly high price just for chasing the illusion of perfection. You see, behind the brilliant glamour and fulfilling smiles on the red carpet are blood-stained secrets, split-second wrong decisions, and grim consequences from which they will never, ever have a chance to turn back. Plastic surgery might bring the flawless exterior one desires, but is it really worth it when what must be traded is a career, health, or even taking one's last breath in loneliness on a cold operating table? Whose story in today's video haunts you and breaks your heart the most? Share your thoughts right down in the comments section. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so we can continue this journey and uncover other shocking dark corners waiting to be revealed about the world of celebrities. Goodbye, and see you next time.